And now we got a lot more talking. They're trying to talk us into all of this, but I think they've gone too far, as the old saying goes. But they started out. We're still not sure who's on whose side in the bloodline. They started out with Roman and Solo and Heyman going to the ring for an interview. And as soon as Roman says, "Acknowledge me," here comes Owens' music. And he comes out in the entranceway, and then Sammy's music, and he comes out. And I would say this is ridiculous. Pick a song and stick to it. But I like this because at some point, Owens needs to switch heel on Sami Zayn. And when they play his music, he gets a pop, he comes out. But when they play Sammy's music, he gets a bigger pop, and he's more popular. So wherever they're going with this right now, if they keep doing that, it'll be nice for the future. Otherwise, pick a fucking song. But anyway, and as usual, Owens wants to fight right away. And I will give it to him that somehow, how has Kevin Steen been able to, the state of him, the look of him, the person of him, been able to convince people that he's a prize fighter and a badass? I'm not saying he can't work. I'm not saying he can't talk. I never have. He doesn't look like fucking Haku. And he's probably been in, I would think, single-digit number of real fights in his life. But and look at him, but he's made people somehow believe that he's a prize fighter.
Well, they call him that.
Exactly.
I never understood why. Again, not to take anything away from whatever you could do in a real fight, but a prize fighter is a specific kind of person, not just anyone who fights.
Fight, Owens, fight. It's all about fighting. But anyway, they have the interaction, but Roman wants to talk to Sami because Roman says he's only got one regret, wasting his life on Sami Zayn. And Sami says, "Well, I regret not hitting you with a chair sooner. And I've dreamed about telling you off for months, and now at the Night of Champions, you're not going to get these tag team title because you're not as good as us, and you're not as good as the Usos either." And boy, howdy, Roman, he winds up, and let me tell you something. He is about to go off verbally and vent his spleen on Sami Zayn. And the Usos hit the ring from behind and jump Owens and Sami and beat him up and chuck him out of the ring and celebrate about doing it. And Roman is pissed. "I didn't call that. That's not my play. I didn't say, what the fuck?" And as he's going to walk off and leave him, he turns around and bumps into Solo. So we get the dramatic look there. And then Roman walks out on him. And that's the end of that segment. But did you notice one thing about the way that transpired, Brian, that would have never happened in the days where guys actually cared how they came off to the fans, and as I said before in the show, their money depended on it, and they didn't want to be made look like idiots? What happened here? You're so used to it by now. It's nothing unusual, but it was glaring here.
Tell me.
Where'd Kevin and Sami go?
I don't know.
Literally, the Usos hit the ring. They're the tag team champions. They fucking roughed them up and hit them with a couple fucking moves. They take bumps out on the floor, and then the Usos and Roman have their interaction, and Roman and Solo has their interaction, and the announcers pitch to the break. You didn't even get a camera shot of these two guys laying on the floor unconscious. And if so, what did they do? Did they just let the heels leave and then they get up in front of 15,000 people in the arena and limp out like a bunch of limp dick losers? You always called, if you were doing an angle in the old days, for a graceful exit for the baby faces. Not only for the television audience, but also for the fucking people, even if they're being helped out by someone. You see where they went. They didn't just take their ass kicking like pussies and fucking disappear because they didn't want to get back up and fight the fucking guys that just beat their ass. Now does it make sense why that don't make sense?
Yes, it does.
There you go.
I said it the other day. I said Sammy and Owens need to do something because they've become afterthoughts in this whole bloodline thing, and this is a perfect example of that.
Either that or they just said, well, we can't whip those guys, so we'll slink out while they're not noticing us. But right after they came back from the commercial break, there's Roman in the back in the Bloodline lounge or whatever, and the Usos are trying to explain, and Roman chewed them out. I had something to say to this guy. I didn't call this plant, blah, blah. He did a great job yelling at them and, basically chastening them, and then kicked them out, said, get out of here, get out of here. So there's trouble in paradise there.